Yo, what's up? So today I want to talk about like an intro offer. What is it and why every business that wants to do outbound should have it. This is going to be like a yap session, let's say, because I'm really awkward talking to the camera, so I will just talk to the air, let's say. Okay, maybe I will cut it out, whatever. The thing is, when you want to sell to cold audience, you can't treat them as a referral, right? So most people think they will just come to the business and say, okay, we can do this for you. Let's sign a 5k a month contract with deal with us. That's not how it works 99% of the time, right? Because there is still a very big risk involved. So how this works, like most people will their business on networking and referral, right? Then there you don't need to have an offer for cold audience, right? But if you want to scale your business, you need to create a different type of offer, which we can we can rely, or we can call them however we want, like an ad offer, lead magnet, low ticket intro, front end offer, cold email, whatever, right? Right now, let's just change that mentally and call it an intro offer, right? So we have two types of offers. What is an intro? And then we have our recurring main service, which builds our MRR, right? So let's say when we are talking about the Grand Slam offer, right? We are talking about the intro offer. That's what we can scale with, essentially. First of all, I want to say this is not my idea. I took this from I learned this from Matthew Larson. So shout out to him, genius. And yes, also like Alex Hormozy, Aaron Reed. These guys really know their shit. So first of all, we need to understand like what is the value of an offer, right? So we have a dream outcome. So a dream outcome, and how likely is it that we can achieve that outcome divided by the time delay and the effort and sacrifice. So when we are creating an offer, we need to maximize the gap between risk and reward potential. So we want to be the risk to be low as possible, and so as close to one as possible, and the potential reward to be close as possible to 100, right? So an offer with 50 to 100 reward and 10 to 100 risk is a far superior offer to an offer with 90 to 100 reward and 82% risk, right? I think that makes sense. So this is like a scale, risk and potential reward scale, right? This is the most ideal position we can be in when creating an intro offer. But most of the time, this is not really possible, right? So what most people do is they need like have an offer that changes someone's business completely, right? You came in one day, and the second day they scale to 10 million a month, right? So that's not how it's usually done, and I think it's not even possible, right? Because let's say you would be able to do that, like the risk is really high for the person or for the client that you are working with, right? So yeah, let's give an example like how we do work in a grocery store. So when you go to the grocery store, there's a risk and a reward, right? You're buying food, and the reward could vary here. If you are starving, you are going to die. The potential reward is probably 100, right? So for most of us, you and me, that's not going to be case. It's going to be like 50 out of 100 potential reward, because we go to the store when we need something or we are hungry. Yeah. So this is what it would look like on the risk and reward scale. So let's give another example. Getting the food ourselves, like on our in our garden or whatever. So in this case, the risk would be much higher than getting the food from the grocery store. Okay, maybe the garden wasn't a good example. Let's say you want to hunt, like for the animal, right, in the woods or whatever. Like the risk hunting for a deer is much higher than going to the store and buying the meat, right? I hope this makes sense, because yeah, I'm not a really good yapper, and sometimes my documents are more easier to digest than what I'm saying. But let's continue. Uh, so, what is the difference between like our one-time service or an intro offer between our main recurring service, right? So the number one issue with people's offers is that they are trying to apply concepts that can only be applied to intro offer to the recurring service, right? So let's say what I'm talking about right here is, let's say we are doing, I don't know, ads, right, for a company, and our offer sounds like, okay, let us come in, let us do your ads for 2 months, and if we don't get you any results, you don't pay nothing, right? But let's say you are doing ads for an e-commerce store, right? And you screw up their ads for 2 months. I mean, they are going out of business, right? So the risk there is very, very high. So that's something you should not apply to recurring service in my opinion, right? So why big brands don't need to worry about like lead flow? So these brands have gathered hundreds of millions, if not billions, in lifetime sales. So let's say, I don't know, some really big company that has done this for millions of customers, right? Comes to you and says like they want to work with you. There is much bigger chance of you accepting that offer with them, because you know they can deliver, but their offer or their service might not be the best that you want, right, or are able to get, but you trust them because they have like really big social proof, right, and what's it called, track record. So in comparison to like some really boutique company or boutique, well, I don't know, like agency, that their service might be 2 times more better than the big company, but you don't trust them because they don't have that big of a track record, right? So the potential reward could be much higher for you, but the risk is also much higher for you because you don't know if they can deliver. But if they deliver, the potential reward will be higher and the outcome will be better, right? So yeah, let's move on. So why you need a one-time intro offer, right? It's not possible to adequately reduce the risk to the point where there is a huge gap between risk and potential on a recurring service. We can all agree on that, I think. So there are five types of risks when it comes to creating an offer, right? So there is your financial risk, your fee. So another financial risk is you screwing it up, like the example I gave in the e-commerce store, right, or e-commerce company, whatever. And there is a time and effort risk, like fixing whatever you screwed up. So if you fucked up their ads for 2 months, they're going to need to fix that immediately. And there is a reputation risk. So this is most likely in bigger companies. So when someone hires you, right, and you're a complete idiot, which I hope you are not, right, but you will screw up their name, they might get fired because of you and whatever. And there is an ego risk, comes from trying something and failing. So this can be with like legion agencies, right? People are less likely to trust you when they have been screwed up by 3 different lead agencies that didn't deliver, right? So it's not possible to mitigate all of these risks when you with your recurring offer, right, recurring service. But it is possible to minimize or possibly eliminate all 5 types of risks when it comes to an intro offer. So an intro offer and the recurring service cover each other's weaknesses, right? The intro offer is easy to sell because you can minimize these five risks, but it's usually one time, so it doesn't build MRR, which is the most important part when it comes to running business, right? The recurring service builds the business, builds the MRR, and builds stability, but it's harder to sell, obviously. So this is what Matthew Larson did before, and what I learned from him. So he was selling conversion rate optimization, right? And the main services are like CRO, between 8 to 15K per month, commitment, blah blah blah. You do all the stuff that you do with CRO, right? And one time offer was building landing pages. The intro offer could be free, could be uh, low ticket, whatever. You can give guarantee on that, right? So 2.5K each one time they would use to run these to their ads. So how he minimized all these risks, right? So financial risk. If his landing page doesn't beat your current page by at least 10% in a 30 A/B test, it will give you a full refund, right? So you're minimizing one risk. Financial risk, he's screwing it up. He will begin the A/B test by splitting up the traffic. So literally 90% will still go to your main landing page, which is performing well. So he won't screw up their business essentially. Time effort risk. If it's bad or not, oh my god, if it's that bad or not better, they can just turn off or add the change URL to the order page, to just like turn it off essentially. Reputation risk. A landing page is not a big thing to change in their business, right? So it's just a small test. If it works, good. If it doesn't work, nothing happened. No harm, no foul. Ego risk. So what he was saying, it was very easy to frame it on a sales call as a little experiment, a test. If it doesn't work, full refund. You will either get a 10% lower CPA or a full refund. Both of these options are risk-free. The only thing guaranteed not to lower your CPA is to choose nothing at all, essentially. So this is like an example of on the risk and reward scale, right? How it will look. And this is like the recurring service for CRO, essentially 50-50. So the idea is get them in within the intro offer and then upsell them to the recurring service, right? So intro offer is easy to sell to ton of clients, is really scalable. When you need the first thing, like if it's even scalable, then create an intro offer, right? It's super strong in messaging, so you get more leads in general, more MRR, so constantly need to get new clients to make revenue with that, right? But with recurring service, you obviously build MRR, harder to sell and riskier for the client, essentially. So what is the purpose of our intro offer? Or our offer in general. Our offer should make them more money and save them the time of doing it themselves, as well as the time they would spend to trying to figure it out on their own. So this is landing pages, right? What a good offer consists of. So a good offer is either measurable or not. If it has a tangible, durable. So landing pages, measurable outcome, right? CRO also. If not measurable, make it very clear what the deliverables are, what they are getting essentially. And you can think of it in stuff like web design, right? In visual services essentially, because most of the time you can't guarantee any results, any like tangible outcomes. So that's what I would think there. And like I said, the intro offer should naturally lead to the recurring service as an upsell, right? So you create trust, you get good outcome for the client with the intro offer, and then you just upsell basically to the main service because they trust you, and they actually might even be looking for that service, but they don't trust the agencies that they have been screwed up before. And that's all. I know my talking is kind of scrappy and it's sometimes harder to listen to me, so I will just leave this document in the doc and you can go through it on your own. I hope it sparked some interest, not interest, but some thought on how you could actually approach this. If you want to talk with me or one of my partners in RefSync, you can schedule a call or shoot me a message on LinkedIn and we can talk further. And yeah, guys, see you.